Welcome to Apex CEO. In this short video, I'm going to share a little bit more about how we work with clients. And this one specifically, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through a list of about 8 questions. And from these questions, you'll get a good idea of our style and kind of the way that, we probe into companies and improve them. Okay, so before I get started, let me just share a little bit about myself. My name is Luke Peters. I started my business in a garage, started a couple of businesses, but the latest one in a garage, zero funding, grew it over 20 years, did over 600 million in cumulative sales and global supply chain and warehouses around the country. And then, fortunately, I was able to exit to private equity. So that's my backstory. And now, after a couple of years of working on some different ideas, I've started up Apex CEO to serve other CEOs and do some coaching, some strategic advising. And what's exciting to me is I've been sort of in your shoes at every step of the way, right? I mean, if I'm working with a smaller company, I've been there. If I'm working with a larger company, I've been there. Complex issues, simple issues, strategic planning. So I'll keep this video short. And my aim here is specifically to focus on the questions, as I'm working with a CEO founder, which is the type of clients that we help and grow their sales. As I'm working with those types of founders, these are the types of questions we're asking. I'm going to give you a sense of kind of how we work and what we get into. Okay, so first question is, again, this is maybe like an intro call. It might be, what's your vision of the company? How effectively are you communicating that vision to your employees? And again, this could be a whole video in and of itself, but communication is so important. Most employees will rate company communication as poor. And many founders will sort of ignore that. But, the truth is communication is super important because your employees, they need to know the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? It gives them context. Okay. If they understand the vision and the why, that context, it's going to help them do such a better job. Next question might be, how are you fostering innovation in your organization? So, what barriers might be hindering your new idea? So innovation, new product development. Okay. These are the cores of company growth, right? So, how do companies grow? Generally, they can, go deeper on sales, go wider on sales, and go maybe wider and deeper on marketing. But new product innovation, okay, new product development is so key. So where is your innovation coming from? How's it stalled out? That's why I asked this question, because typically, over the course of a couple of years, now you've got maybe a larger team and you've got more responsibilities, sort of that innovation kind of levels out as your attention goes elsewhere, right? And if you're the CEO founder, you're probably, you are the innovation for the company. So you sort of need to be, removed of these other tasks and focus on product, in my opinion. Okay, another question might be, do you understand your sales margins? So bottoms up at the product level, okay? And most people, yeah, of course I understand your margin. No, but do you understand, can you go look at any transaction and follow that transaction all the way through the P&L and understand the exact sales margin on that transaction? Okay, this is actually super difficult. Fortune 500 companies even have a hard time doing this, okay? Because, think about, depending on who you're selling to, you might have different allowances and other costs that are involved. Shipping might not be reallocated back into your financials at product level or at the transaction level. So this is super important. Okay, a lot of companies are losing money on a significant portion of their sales, but that's a deeper dive, but it's a great question. So basically, how sophisticated are your accounting systems? This isn't something to be intimidated on because 80-20, you can get really far, you can get really close. You can get 80% of the way there, right? With 20% of the effort. And then that last 20% is difficult to get to sometimes, depending on your system. So maybe another question, do you have weekly one-on-ones with your direct reports? Most people, yes, I have weekly one-on-ones. Okay, that's great. But how is the accountability? What systems are you using? Are you running off something like OKRs? How are the follow-ups? Are there agendas before the meeting? I mean, there's so much more to go into meeting structure. How you handle those meetings reflects back onto the team and then how they handle their meetings with their subordinates. So this is really important feedback that goes through the company. How organized are you? How much accountability are you driving? And that's, oftentimes the key to success and staying on point, on goal. What potential blind spots are there with your leadership approach? How can we address those, right? Everybody can learn more maybe about their leadership approach, how they can become a better leader, what things they should be saying, what things they shouldn't be saying. So again, deep dive into leadership. Another question might be, do you have an exit plan or are you working towards one? If not, why not? Like, why would anybody not be working towards an exit plan? Typically, the answer might be that, well, they don't want to sell. But okay, I'd push back and say, but why not have an exit plan and have your company ready to sell? Sell on your terms, right? Because a lot of times companies have a for sale, and I can tell you those are not the way to go. Instead, I was really fortunate. We planned it out, and we went to market, and we ran a process, and we had over 10 companies interested, and that took us through for a successful exit. So with planning this, having a plan, having the right people around you, it's really important. But here's the thing: if you get your company ready for sale, what does it mean? It means you probably have improved margins. You probably have less customer concentration. You probably have, a sales chart that's going up 3 years on, right? So you're doing all the right things. And if you don't want to sell, don't sell. But it's a great exercise and a great goal for you to have as a company. And also, you can really kind of get your leadership team involved, and maybe they can have some skin in the game, right? With some incentives on that sale, and really, really drive the company forward. So this is a huge way to create incentive. Specifically, there's a lot of ways to do that. We'll go in maybe in a different video. Okay, so what specific measurable activities are you implementing to ensure that you achieve a desired outcome, right? So these are, your goal setting, your OKRs, how easily measurable are these, but really what's more important is, like, are you choosing the right OKRs or the right goals? Okay, that's oftentimes a problem. It's like, companies are going to have a list of OKRs or goals or quarterly goals or year-end planning goals. And 3 or 4 of them are specific enough to actually drive revenue. And the rest are they're either not specific, or they don't drive revenue, or they cater to some other facet of the company. But, first of all, you got to decide, like, what are your goals? Do you want to drive revenue? Do you want to drive profit? What are you sort of aiming for the coming year? And you got to design those OKRs and goals around that. But oftentimes, I think kind of people sort of flippantly or too quickly come to the goal, the objective, and without thinking creatively enough. So what I'm saying is, there could be some money left on the table because there's not enough creativity in the process and thinking of maybe a better way to come up with better objectives. And that often happens when you have other people to bounce ideas off of, right? Other peer level, colleagues to bounce ideas off of, see what they're doing in their companies. And that definitely can spark some good ideas. Okay, so how is your CEO life balance? This one's really important to me. It's really not discussed enough, I think, in a lot of coaching programs. But look, if you're not healthy, if you're not sleeping good, if you're not feeling good and excited, you're not going to perform good. Okay, so I'm thinking about, the body and the mind, right? It's like 360 degrees, right? You have to have maybe a fitness, and hopefully the diet's good, and all of these things sort of come together with the family life and how you're feeling so that you can execute your job. This is a topic all on itself, but something that I believe strongly in, and I want to support all of the clients in the same way. Okay, I think of, why are you working, right? Okay, you're hopefully working to create a great company, but to create a great outcome for you, your family, your loved ones. So with that in mind, this is a super important thing to talk about and have a plan. It could be a real simple plan, but have a plan around that. Okay, so quick story about me. This video is going longer than I wanted, but before I exited, I was really fortunate, and some of this wasn't planned, but I actually picked up certain advisors along the way. Okay, I had 2 gentlemen who helped me out sort of with the strategic planning of the company and the organization of the company as we expanded warehouses and sort of our national and global supply chain. And so that was super important. And then we did some really, really important hires along the way. Then another gentleman came in and helped on the sales side. I mean, he had global sales experience. He brought new energy and just enlightened me on different ways to run sales, and sat in on some meetings and helped us on the sales side be more specific about our goals, have a little bit more drive and planning on the sales side. And that was super, super important. As then right about that time, we sort of decided, okay, I think, we should go through a process and look for an exit. And then during the exit process, I had another advisor who was specifically a sell side M&A advisor, right? So he only does sell side, for the company. Okay. The company still will have a banker in some cases, but he's there just for me. And it was incredible because along the way, there's so many nuances and questions, and, important things that he was able to advise on. So through that process, it really opened my eyes of the power of having the absolute best people in your corner. And some of that led me here to think about creating Apex CEO. Okay, so I hope sharing sort of these questions that we ask, sharing a little bit of my background gives you guys a little bit more insight into how we work. And what's really important to me is to really express that I don't have to do this right now. Okay, I'm doing this because I really enjoy doing it. So I want to be there for you, the client. Help you. I mean, my goal is, when we work together, you're going to make more money. Okay, in a good way. You're going to make a better company, create a better legacy, improve your leadership, and even be less stressed and potentially even work less. Right. That's kind of the goal here. Is to streamline these things and just to create a business that works for you. If you want to learn more, please schedule a meeting through the calendar below and look forward to a 15-20 minute chat. And we can learn more about Apex CEO and your business at the same time. Take care.